The Grand Avalon Hotel was the crown jewel of Washington, D.C., a place where power whispered between glasses of champagne and deals were made behind dazzling chandeliers. Tonight, it hosted the most exclusive political gala of the year, an event where the rich and powerful gathered to celebrate themselves. Senator Alexander Graves stood at the center of it all. He was a man who commanded attention, tall, sharp-jawed, with an aura of authority that made people lean in when he spoke. He was one of the most promising figures in the Senate, rumored to be the next presidential candidate. But tonight, none of that mattered. Tonight, his eyes were drawn to her. She stood by the grand staircase, dressed in a black gown that clung to her figure like it was woven from the night itself. Dark waves of hair cascaded over her shoulders, and when she turned, their gazes locked. Isabella Moreau. He had never met her, yet something about her felt dangerous, like standing too close to a flame, knowing it could burn. "Who is she?" he asked his aide, Ethan Caldwell. Ethan glanced toward her and frowned. "No idea, but I'll find out." Alexander didn't wait for answers. He made his way toward her, the room fading into a blur of forgettable faces. When he reached her, she tilted her head, a smirk dancing on her lips. "Senator Graves," she said smoothly. "A pleasure to finally meet you." "You have me at a disadvantage," he replied, his curiosity piqued. She extended her hand. "Isabella. No last name, no details, just a name wrapped in mystery." He took her hand, feeling the warmth of her skin, and something shifted between them. An unspoken understanding. A game beginning. "Shall we dance?" she asked. For the first time that night, Alexander let go of politics, let go of the careful calculations that ruled his world. He took her hand and led her to the dance floor, unaware that with every step, he was walking into a carefully laid trap. The dance was just the beginning. Alexander found himself drawn to Isabella in ways he couldn't explain. The conversation flowed effortlessly, her wit sharp and intoxicating. She wasn't like the usual women at these events, socialites looking for power, reporters fishing for quotes. She challenged him, made him forget the weight of the political world. Hours passed in a blur of stolen glances and whispered conversations. And then, before he even realized how it happened, they were in his private suite at the top of the Avalon. The city lights stretched below them, but Alexander only saw her. The way her lips parted slightly as he traced his fingers along her jaw. The way her breath hitched when he pulled her close. "This is dangerous," she murmured against his lips. "I don't care," he whispered. The night became a storm of passion, a collision of two forces that should have never met. And yet, as dawn approached and she lay in his arms, something in her gaze had changed. A flicker of hesitation, a shadow of guilt, then, just as the first light of morning crept through the window, she was gone. Alexander woke to find her side of the bed cold, her perfume lingering in the air. And a note on the nightstand. "We all have secrets, Senator. I wonder how well you keep yours." "I am." His blood ran cold. Isabella Moreau wasn't just some woman he met at a gala. She was a journalist. And she had been playing him all along. Ethan Caldwell stormed into Alexander's office later that day, his face a mask of fury. "She's an investigative journalist," Ethan spat, tossing a file onto the senator's desk. "Isabella Moreau works for the Sentinel, and she's been digging into Vincent Rossi." Alexander's stomach clenched. Rossi was one of his biggest campaign donors, a billionaire with ties to corporations that didn't always operate within the law. If Isabella was investigating him, then she was dangerously close to uncovering things that could bring down not just Rossi, but Alexander's entire career. He exhaled slowly, gripping the edge of his desk. "What exactly does she know?" Ethan shook his head. "We don't know yet, but if she was with you last night, she wasn't just there for fun. She wanted something, and she probably got it." The realization settled in like ice in his veins. Isabella had played him, and now, she held a weapon that could destroy him. Alexander had two options. He could ignore it and hope she didn't have enough evidence, or he could stop her before she had a chance to publish. He made his choice. "Find her," he ordered Ethan. "Before it's too late." But Isabella was already one step ahead. That evening, a single message arrived on his phone. "Meet me at midnight, Warehouse 17. No security, no tricks, or I release everything." She was calling the shots now. And Alexander had no choice but to play along. The warehouse was dark and abandoned, the scent of rust and old wood filling the air. Alexander stepped inside, his heart pounding. He had faced political enemies, corruption scandals, even assassination threats, but this was different. Isabella stood at the center of the room, illuminated by the dim glow of a single overhead light. She held a folder in her hands. Vincent Rossi, she said softly. Money laundering, bribery, and guess whose name is all over the documents? Alexander clenched his fists. Why are you doing this? Her expression wavered, just for a moment. Because the truth matters. Does it? He stepped closer. Because last night, it didn't seem like the truth was all you cared about. Her breath caught, but she didn't back down. I didn't expect you to be different, she admitted. I thought you'd be like the rest, power-hungry, corrupt. But then I met you. And now, I don't know what to believe. The silence stretched between them. Alexander could see the conflict in her eyes. Then don't publish it, he said, his voice low. Not yet. Give me time to fix this. To make it right. Isabella hesitated. You're asking me to trust you, she whispered. Yes, he said, because I trust you. For a long moment, she stared at him. Then, slowly, she handed him the folder. But neither of them realized that Ethan had been watching from the shadows. And as Alexander took the documents, a gunshot rang through the air. Isabella gasped, stumbling back, blood blooming across her dress. Alexander caught her as she collapsed. Ethan stepped forward, gun still smoking. You were getting too close, Alex. I had to handle it. Rage burned through Alexander as he held Isabella in his arms. This wasn't just politics anymore. This was war.